Good afternoon. Welcome to the Make We Talk program here on WZPP and WZOP, the voice of the Caribbean. I'm your host, Jeffrey T. This afternoon, we're going to talk about mental health. I have with me on the line Sergeant Brandon Harrison from the New Jersey Army National Guard. Welcome to the program, Sarge.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. Tell us who you are. Tell us who is Sergeant Brandon Harris before we get into the whole details of everything, sir.
Well, like you said, I'm a sergeant in the Army National Guard. I've been in the National Guard for about 17 years. Mm-hmm. I also work for the New Jersey, the state of New Jersey in terms of human resources. I've been there for about a little over a year and a half, but I've been a state employee for about 18 years. And I've been involved in mental health since my undergrad degree and then my postgrad degree in industrial organizational psychology. So,
well, thank you all. Thank you for coming in, and we're gonna dig deeper in mental health. How do you know? When do you know that there's a person struggling with mental health? Because there's so many people going around right now who is struggling with mental health, and they're depressed and everything like that, sir. So tell us, how do you know about? How would I know that my brother is struggling with mental health to take him to a doctor?
It all depends really on the person. So a lot of times you look for little cues, especially if it's somebody close to you. So like you mentioned, like if somebody like a brother or a family member, right? And they're just not acting the same. Like their habits and stuff are changing. Things are not normal in terms of how you actually interact with them. You can kind of tell on those particular bases. And sometimes really it's so minuscule that you really don't know unless you truly know the person. So there's really, something you look into behaviorally that is going to be a little off, that you may say, hey, this person might need a little more help or a little more guidance or a little more assistance professionally. Mm-hmm.
So based on all of that, Sarge, when you look on the ratio of mental health in the United States and maybe within the Caribbean, how much would you say within the United States? Do you have an idea?
I have an idea offhand. I mean, in terms of mental health issues. Yes. So like a population, I'm sure about like 15% of the population struggle with some form of mental health issue. Mm-hmm. I know in the workplace in general, you have half the population that are working in the world, and then 15% of that are usually struggling with some type of mental health or some type of stress or something that they need to look into in terms of professional help. So I would say about 15% in total in terms of the world.
So do you know, for the ratio between men and women, do you know if men is more trouble with mental health than women?
No, so that I'm not really sure, but I mean, everybody struggles with different things. Yeah. So it's not, a woman struggling with this and a man struggling with something else. It can be either the same or quite different depending on the outlook of what they're going through in their life. And I don't really think there's anything that's set in stone that, women struggle with this more so than men. Mm-hmm. It's just something that how you perceive your life to be, whatever struggles you're maintaining. I just think those need to be put into the whole environment, into what we're doing, and what we're looking at in terms of mental health related issues.
When it comes on to, I don't know if you can speak about mental health within the Army,
right.
But can you?
Yeah. I mean, depends on the question, but yeah, I can speak to that.
Okay. When majority of our army vets come back home, you know, some of them trouble with really severe mental problems.
Right.
How do we go about assisting them to know that, hey, we got to take you to somewhere to make sure that you're okay?
Well, one of the things that I know that the Army in general does now is they really implement a lot of different things regarding mental health. So they talk about suicide prevention and then do like the resiliency training on mental health. And for individuals that have deployed and, seen some traumatic type things to be able to come back, they have these classes every year that you have to attend. And then in those instances, a lot of people are able to speak out and then get the help that they need. And then I know our VA system is really in tune in terms of mental health. Now, a lot of the struggle is getting a soldier to speak up because a lot of times they don't want to. Mm-hmm. I think that's more of the issue, but in terms of getting people educated on mental health, especially with the military, I think that's really taken a step forward in providing the proper education regarding mental health, especially in the military.
Yes. When go ahead.
Well, just like I said, just getting a soldier to be willing to speak out, whatever traumatic type things that they're going through is typically the struggle.
How do you get a person to speak out, to speak of, what they're going through? How do you get them to really speak about it? Because it's a very hard thing for someone to speak about when you know that you're so stressed, you're going through so many things, and you try to speak, but it's hard for it to get out, for you to speak to somebody. How do you go about doing that? If you
sometimes I'm not gonna lie and say it's going to be easy or that you're always going to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. But being as supportive as you can is basically the key. So if you know somebody who is struggling and they're finding it difficult to speak out, or you want to talk to somebody who's close to them about whatever it is that they're experiencing, being supportive for them is the biggest thing to allow them to be able to open up and then have that space to then actually speak on whatever it is that they're feeling. Mm-hmm. It is not an easy process. It's really an ongoing process, especially if you have somebody who is really tight-lipped about what they're experiencing. But just showing support and not really forcing the individual to speak out is kind of the key in that. Mm-hmm. I would say.
Wow.
Yeah, so if anybody's struggling, just talking to them about it, or even expressing to them your own particular struggles may give them a leeway to then talk about their own.
Mm-hmm. And with people who has kids around, and their kids are young, but yet the father or the mother is struggling with severe mental health. Mm-hmm. Is it very hard for a person to really, come out and say, hey, that is happening, but my kids are here. What, or a family member will say, hey, Sarge, this is happening to somebody that I know within the armed force, but their kids are around. How do we go about dealing with something like that?
I guess it would depend on the family dynamic.
Yes.
So if you have a parent who's struggling with mental health, but have a child, the best bet is to get the child on the same page. So if the child is old enough to understand that their mom or dad or whoever it is going through some things, and they tend not to be themselves, or they suffer from depression, or whatever the case may be. To talk to them about it, have a really candid conversation with your child, like, this is what's going on, this is what I'm dealing with, and if it's somebody outside looking in, either if they have a relationship with that child, or if they know, an aunt or uncle or somebody like that sort who can talk to the child, express to them what they need to do in terms of protecting the child, in terms of those environments, as well as, protecting the parent from, causing lasting damage towards the child because of whatever it is they may be going through. That may be unintentional in terms of traumatic events that may be thrown at the child, or just in general, just family members in general, not specifically a child, but to protect the child in that light of that trauma from having to see their parents suffer from that. You can have a conversation with them, and then hopefully they can understand, and maybe get them to see some type of professional help as well, because they're having to deal with this on a daily or weekly or monthly basis.
Mm-hmm. But if you have a family member who's very erratic, how do you deal with that?
And in terms of the child's perspective?
No, in terms of in terms of an adult perspective, if you have a family member, right, and they're very erratic, you're trying to get them help, but they, as if they don't want the help, but you want to get them help, but they're very erratic. How do you go about dealing with something like that?
Well, you depending on how the child is, so if it's specifically putting the child in some form of danger, you would have to get the authorities involved. You would have no other choice because the parent's not seeking the help that they need. It's unfortunate, but at that point in time, if you have the child who's in danger and then the guardian of the child is not really, taking the child's safety into consideration, then the authorities will need to be contacted to either manage that situation, or unfortunately have to take the child until the parent seeks the help that they need, and that'll be up to the authorities on how that actually works.
Mm-hmm. Is depression a part of mental health?
Yes, depression is a part of mental health, and I think a lot of people suffer from depression more than any other thing. In terms of mental health, because a lot of people might not even realize they're actually suffering from depression.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, it may be just somebody doesn't like their job, or doesn't like their atmosphere, their environment, and they don't know how to counterbalance that.
Yes. If you're just just a moment. If you're just joining us, we're live on WZPP and WZOP, and also the Mekwittalk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. If you want to call in to discuss somebody who is struggling with mental health, you can call 850-446-0562. That's 850-446-0562. This is WZPP and WZOP. Doc, go ahead with your comment that you were saying.
So yes, a person is suffering from some form of depression, and maybe something that's coming on very slowly, that you never really experience it until it gets so dark that you really have you can't see a way out at all. So I think that is one of the bigger struggles, especially here in America, where you have people just constantly grinding, constantly working, constantly trying to get ahead, and then you have a burnout or a breakdown that really don't know where it's coming from, and it's typically stemming from something that happened previously that's continuously ongoing, that they just never realized.
So what you're saying, that sometimes people are so depressed, and what they do is to bury themselves down into work?
Yeah, a lot of times that does happen, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it affects people differently. So you have that to where somebody will just bury themselves into work because that's really all they know, right? Or you have some people just so unmotivated that they can't even do the things that they actually enjoyed to do at one point. So you have somebody that's really enjoyed playing sports, but they're so burned out and depressed that now they're not even getting the enjoyment that they used to out of it. So just and that's something that can happen at a very slow pace to where you don't even notice it.
Wow. So in other words, it's a silent creeper thing that comes upon you and you don't realize that you're depressed.
A lot of times, yes.
So Doc, elaborate some more on the whole depression thing. Can you elaborate some more on that? Because I'm pretty much sure a lot of people out there are depressed and then you realize that they're depressed.
Yeah, so I'll give you, just the basics, like, how we see it is, it's kind of like a spectrum, like a lot of things are, right? It's like a spectrum of, you have some people who are just really in a stressful environment. Mm-hmm. So let's like take a person who's in a stressful environment and they're on that loop where that's constant. It's every day, it's all day. And you have some people who thrive in those. They like the stress, they like to feel it or whatever, and then it gives them the motivation to push forward. And some people don't. They don't like that atmosphere. So they'll go in, say it's a job, and they're going in, they're going every day, they're performing their work, and slowly but surely, a couple months in, a year, 2 years, 3 years of constantly doing the same repetitive thing to where you're not really exploring anything in terms of your life.
Yes.
And that depression begins to creep in to where like you just feel stuck. You just feel in that stuck loop. And that's kind of what depression is. You just feel on a constant like stuck type loop thing to where you can't really get out of it. And that tends to kind of break people down. Mm-hmm. To the point where they're just not motivated to do anything, and then it becomes a deeper, darker type of depression that you just can't escape from. And then at that point where it's something that you felt it later creeped up on you, mm-hmm. but it's something that's just been constantly and ongoing for quite some time.
Can depression lead to suicide?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, 100%. And it's unfortunate, like depression is a big factor in terms of somebody taking their own life, especially if they feel as though there's no escaping whatever it is that they've got going on. And a lot of the times, a lot of people who suffer from depression just think it's a way of life, right? Like I'm constantly going, I'm constantly doing. There's really no time to stop, reflect, seek the help that I may need, mm-hmm. and it can lead to some, dark thoughts, which can turn to people actually planning it out, to which it actually turns into somebody actually performing, the suicidal thoughts that they actually had. So it definitely can lead to that.
Mm. Wow. We're talking to Sergeant Brandon Harrison from the New Jersey Army National Guard about mental health. Sergeant, when you get up in the morning, does the whole depression, like when you get up in the morning, you don't want to get out of bed none at all? You just want to stay in bed all day?
Well, like it affects everybody differently. So okay. Some people, they may not have an issue, let's say like they may not have an issue getting to work, right? Mm-hmm. It could be like, once they get to work, it's fine. But as soon as they have that conversation with that coworker, they may not really mesh with, or that supervisor they can't really deal with, or they messed up on a project, things can lead to a darker path fairly quickly, depending on that outlook. Or you do have some people who really, they're just not feeling it today. They can't get out of bed. They don't want to do anything. They just, they barely even want to eat. They just want to lay in the bed and then, hope the world disappears. And that's kind of the spectrum that we're talking about when I spoke about the spectrum earlier, to where you have people who can deal with these stressors from day to day, and they manage it fine. And then at some point, some people just can't, and then that stress turns to anxiety, and then anxiety turns to depression, and that depression turns to just unmotivation to do absolutely anything that you typically would do in your life. So it's something that really, I think, takes a lot of mental awareness to actually catch. Mm-hmm. And, like knowing, what triggers you and what doesn't, and then, having those conversations with, friends and support groups and professionals actually really, they would help you guide you in that.
Mm. Sarge, how does the military assist members of the armed force who are having mental challenges? How do they assist them? If you can.
So we have, the VA, which is like a regular doctor for the military. And you can go and you talk to, professionals about whatever it is that you're struggling with, whether it's, you've been on deployment or any personal things you have going on within your life. I have a couple friends who are suffering from like PTSD and things of that sort, and some is from deployment and some is just from their everyday life, and just being able to talk to people who, in terms of military personnel who are psychologists and stuff like that, seems to be helping them. But also in terms of like classes, like we have to take the yearly classes on like mental resiliency and suicide awareness and mental health in general. I think it's opened a lot of soldiers' eyes in terms of how to maintain their own mental health, and then how to see if somebody else is struggling, which gives us a better outlook on who may need help, and then if I may need help. So I think that's.
How do you take care of your own mental challenges that you're facing and your own depression that you're facing?
It's a lot of different ways to do that. For me personally, like what I like to do is like to write out like a journal a lot. So I'm always writing my journal. I try to do it almost every day, and it's usually a morning and nightly routine depending on how much time I have. Mm-hmm. But just going over how I'm feeling in the day, like understanding my own emotions, tends to help you give a better idea of what it is that you're going through, what your triggers may be, what your outlook on life may be. Like if you read some of your entries that you put in, you can see like, how I was feeling in the month of October, and then how compare that to like the month of November. So that's one way I would like to do it. Mental stimulation is another way, like stimulating your mind in some type of way, whether it's taking online classes or, going to school, even if you're not looking for a particular degree. Like the mind likes stimulation, doesn't like doing the same thing over and over again. Mm-hmm. So finding something that is going to, trigger that stimulation within your mind, whether it's, some people like crocheting or, whatever hobby you may have, trying to keep up with that, to find some type of stimulation for the mind is another way. Reading, of course, spending time with family and friends, like people who you are close to. That's really big. Like social, like we're social beings, so being social, like talking to people like you really enjoy being around, is big.
So at that point, just hold your thoughts on me, please. We're going to take a quick commercial break.
You're listening to
We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
92.7 LP.
We're not the airline. When we
Please leave your full name and phone number and we will get back to you. You can also email us at wbelizaire@miami.edu. That is WBELIZAIRE@miami.edu.
For more info, hit us up at WCBradio.com.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so...
Welcome back to the Mekwitchalk program this afternoon. We're speaking to Sergeant Brandon Harrison pertaining to mental health. Welcome back, Sarge.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Welcome back to the program, sir. Thank you for waiting. Thank you. Does depression make you have sleeping disorder?
Oh yeah, actually, I think that's more so with women, especially in their 30s, and it's like sleep apnea and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, like 100% that can cause you, with your mind always racing and not really being able to settle down at all, or just being constantly stressed. Yeah, you can definitely have struggles with terms of like sleeping and staying up all night and stuff like that.
So how do you work on that? If I'm depressed and I'm having problems sleeping, what do I do? Do I seek medical attention, or would it go away?
So I would always advise, especially if it's something that's been lasting for quite a while, I always advise people to seek some type of professional help. That'll always be my number one go-to. For things that you would want to try to work on, it would be just focusing in on mindfulness, figuring out what it is that you're thinking about that is not preventing you from, I guess, alleviating the stress that you're experiencing so you can't fall asleep. So a lot of times that can be, just strictly like having some type of meditation practice or some type of spiritual practice to where you're shifting your purpose in terms of self-care and your spirituality. That tends to help a lot in terms of like getting yourself away from your own thoughts. I spoke about journaling earlier. Like you might just need to get those emotions and whatever else you're experiencing just out. Like get them out, whether you type it on a computer or you write it out in a book. Just whatever it is that you're thinking about, write those things out. That way they're on paper and not just stuck up in your head, and you're constantly just reminiscing about it throughout your life. That's something that really helps me a lot. But yeah, it could be something within the diet, eating something fairly healthy at night. Can help with that. And then just having self-compassion, knowing that, whatever it is that you're going through may be something that you didn't trigger yourself. And it may not be all on you to have to deal with. So if you have supportive friends or family that you can reach out to just to tell them how it is that you're feeling, can be some form of help in terms of alleviating that stress as well.
But sometimes... Sorry, Sarge, go ahead.
So those would be like my go-tos in terms of getting that stuff kind of out of your head to where you can then relax and not be so stressed.
But Sarge, with us men, majority of us men are afraid to talk about how we feel inwards. I mean, we pretend as if everything is okay outwards, but inwards, we're dying inwards. And how do we speak to our wives and our girlfriends or even our doctors pertaining to what we're going through?
Right. So the one thing I noticed, especially for men, like if you become mentally aware, like if you actually know what's going on, it's easier for us to actually talk about it. Because a lot of times we'll suffer in silence, but really don't know what's going on. And because of that, we don't know how to address it, right? So, excuse me, if you have, if you're like struggling with, something within your life, and you can kind of pinpoint what it is that, may have triggered this chain reaction you're going through, it would become a little bit easier for us to actually talk about it and then express what's going on within us. But being able to reflect within yourself first actually makes it easier to talk about it outwards. So that's typically what I tell a lot of my guys friends is, like, if you have something that's going on, try to figure it out on your own. And if that's not the case, because we like to solve problems, try to see if you can get a person that you trust to really talk you through it. Like, it's like, I'm struggling with this, but I really don't know what it is. And bring it up as like a problem for you to solve, and that way you're actually able more so to be getting it out to another individual to actually help you try to solve this problem that you may be facing. That's something that has worked for a couple people that I've told you to try. I know it works for me as well. So, like, it's something that I do on my own, so where, I'll map out whatever situation I may be going through. I'll write everything out and try to really like just delve into it as if it's a problem. And then once I figure out what, pieces go with what, I'm able to express those a lot better to somebody else than I would be if I just, throw it at them or, just keep it within myself.
Mm-hmm. If you're just joining us, we're speaking to Sergeant Brandon Harrison, pertaining to mental health. He's from the New Jersey Army National Guard. If you're joining us on our YouTube channel, which we're live on our YouTube channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Sarge, does depression make you go to the fridge every minute of the day and just, in Jamaica, that's a nyam? I don't understand that word. I'm pretty much sure you're around many Jamaicans who use that word. In other words, you go to the fridge and you just eat. Is that a sign of depression?
That is a sign, yes. So you have, like I said, like, there's a spectrum. So you have some that, they just can't. If they're depressed, they really just can't eat. And you have somebody who is typically emotionally depressed to where eating that's their thing. So, for, a lot of people, we're in the fridge for, ice cream or whatever it is late at night because you're stressed about either the next day or stressed about the current day that you're in is a big sign that you may be struggling with more than you think. And if it's an ongoing thing, of course, that can cause many other problems. But, eating, having some form of eating disorder or, just overeating when it's not something that you normally do, is a big sign that you could be suffering from depression.
My darling wife at home, she has this tendency of giving me in portion, and that I love that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out something here, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this in here, but I'm going to say it. I love eating food. I love my curry chicken. I'm cutting off a chicken right now. I don't eat red meat anymore. In Jamaica, you have curry chicken and your yam and your dumpling and your banana. And you love to eat those things. And my wife keep on saying to me, sweetheart, you need to cut out of certain things. Try and eat more vegetables. I'm trying to figure out. Because I love food, am I depressed? Am I, depression?
No. So I love food as well. My military friends called me basically an endless pit because they see me eat. But that's something in your norm, right? Yeah. So it's something in your norm. So eating healthy is a struggle because it's not like the habit. You know what I mean? Like once you get into the habit, you'll probably be able to do good in that. Mm-hmm. But and then of course with those things, like any kind of diet, especially taking you away from something you love to do or love to eat, is going to be a struggle. But no, that doesn't necessarily mean you're suffering from depression.
Okay.
But like you, I love my curry chicken as well. So
Lord,
I have to get that.
Sarge, I didn't know that you love the Jamaican curry chicken. I wonder what
I love it. So my wife is Dominican, and just Caribbean food in general. Like I just enjoy it. She loves Jamaican food as well. So any chance we can get it, we definitely do.
Yes, I mean, it's good when they can eat your Caribbean food. I must say good afternoon to a very good friend of mine who is watching us and listening to us right now. I called her Madam Secretary. She knows who I'm talking. I won't call her name on air. Good afternoon to Madam Secretary. I think Sarge knows who I'm talking. And also to Wilfred Radigan, who is just joining us with the conversation here. He's watching us and saying there's a good conversation going on. Sergeant Brandon Harrison from the New Jersey National Guard. In all of this that is going on with mental health right now within the armed forces, within your personal life, people's personal life, and everything like that, can you say how much people may have committed suicide because of mental health or depression? Same thing.
I can't give you an exact number, but I do know. I know in the military in general, they were keeping track for a while, and it was steadily increasing for a time. Like every year, it would get more and more. From the last time I've actually talked to somebody about, I believe the numbers are starting to trend downwards per year. And I think that's because of just the mental awareness that we're having within the armed forces. With everything going on in terms of the world, it may be a little different. That's more of a struggle to get people involved in terms of mental health and mental awareness. The military, you kind of don't have a choice except to learn about it because, like I said, these courses are mandatory. You have to take them. So a lot of people are becoming more aware. But I do see people, I do see mental health becoming more of a trend to where more people are reaching out, more people are trying to learn about it, more people are trying to actually become mentally aware on their own.
Yes.
And that's not a bad thing as long as you aren't already suffering from it. Right? If it's something that you're already suffering with, like I encourage people to go seek help. I encourage people to talk to somebody about it. But if it's something that you just want to learn about and to be able to help others, that's kind of how I got into the space. I really just wanted to be able to help people. And so I studied and I, started working on my own. I started reading and doing the work, and then I eventually started going to school for it to be able to speak about it. But if you're just somebody who is, every day just want to figure out how to deal with your stresses, I really encourage just to do like a quick little search to see how can you manage your daily stress, which usually your daily stress, the small stresses in your life typically become big, right? They become very big that you can't handle on your own. So if you take a step back, figure it out, try to figure out whatever it is that you're going through and become mentally aware at the start, you tend not to get to the extreme. And that tends to help people a lot more than, having the breakdown, trying to find help when it's really at that point kind of too late. And at that point, you really need to seek professional licensed help. And I really encourage people to do that if that's the case.
Sergeant Brandon Harrison, we don't have enough time leaving the program here. They only give us an hour here. Hopefully I can get some sponsor for me to go about 3 hours to speak about the problems that the world face and the problem that we face in mental health. Can you just tell our people out there how they can really help each other to combat mental health and depression? In the few minutes that we have leaving the program here, sir, can you just tell us what to do and where to go and how do we assist each other?
In terms of assisting each other, it's really easy, and that's really just to be kind. It's really just everybody's going through something. Like your struggles may not be my struggles, and my struggles may not be your struggles, but at the end of it, being kind and supportive to one another is really the key in terms of anybody just managing their life. I think if most people went about their day and, just in the mindset of being able to support not only myself and my family, but just to be able to support somebody, give somebody a kind word. It kind of it triggers people to think positively, right? To where if you're dealing with something and somebody gives you a kind word, that kind of goes away for a while. So I never forget, I was in the store and there was a cashier and I was standing behind the person I was getting food at a supermarket. And she was very nice. So she was nice to the guy. She was talking to him or whatever, asked him how his day was. And then by the end of it, as I'm coming up to start scanning my own things, he goes back to the young lady and says, thank you for being so nice to me. That really made my day. And that was kind of like an eye-opener to where you really don't know what somebody's going through.
Yes.
And what struggles they have. So, just being kind to each person you talk to or each person you meet, it doesn't really take that much away from you, but it gives so much to them, So I think that is like one of the biggest key components, just, kindness and supportiveness into to each person you interact with is a key in helping them with whatever mental health issues they may be facing. But like I said earlier, like if you really are struggling, you really can get out of the loop that you're in. Just to do a little bit of research. You can find professionals. They're everywhere. That's near you. Somebody's licensed that you can just talk to. That'll help as well.
Thank you very much, Sergeant Brandon Harrison from the New Jersey Army National Guard, for coming on to the Mequitalk program here in WZPP and WZOP, the voice of the Caribbean. Sarge, thank you so much for coming on, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me. This person was great.
Thank you so much. And don't be a stranger to the Mequitalk program now.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is Sergeant Brandon Harrison from the New Jersey Army National Guard, talking to us about mental health. Today I didn't want to talk about any politics today. I see I have Madam Secretary on the YouTube channel saying this is great interview. This is right there. Great interview. Yes. Thank you very much, Madam Secretary, for coming on. She made the link for me. I won't call her name. She knows who I'm talking. And I know she's cracking up there when I said to her, Madam Secretary of Defense. And I'll say, Madam Secretary of Defense, thank you for making the link for me. I don't want to talk about politics today. I want to talk about, your health. And, majority of the time we go through so many things in our lives. We're going through so many depressions, so many problems that we don't even realize that we are having a problem. And, it is good for us to really sit down and talk about our problems to who we think may help us. And, the Mequitalk program is not all about politics. It's not about politics in Jamaica, politics in the Caribbean, or politics in the United States. It's about trying to help people. And, I must say to all my friends and family who comes onto the program each and every day, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the program. Thank you all very much for coming on. Come Sunday, October, why am I saying November? Sunday, October 29th at 11 a.m., we'll be having Jamaica, South Africa's Security Forum. Our special guests are Wilfred Radigan, retired FBI agent, ambassador from Interpol. Let me give the proper thing. Former ambassador to Interpol, Andy Mashiley, Wilfred Radigan, retired FBI agent, Herb Nelson Jr., security consultant, General Godfrey Labie from South Africa. We'll be having a security forum this Sunday at 11 a.m. U.S. time. That's 10 a.m. America time. Sorry, 11 a.m. U.S. time, 10 a.m. Jamaica time. I'm so confused today. It's 11 a.m. U.S. time, 10 a.m. Jamaica time. And the Mequitalk program will be having Jamaica and Jamaica and South Africa Security Forum. Our special guests are Ambassador Andy Mashiley, Herb Nelson Jr., retired FBI agent Wilfred Radigan, General Godfrey Lebear of South Africa. We will be having a robust discussion, and also a former Jamaican National Security Minister will be on our program. He will be coming on our program also to see what we can do, because some of South Africa's security problem is the same problem we're having in Jamaica. So we're going to have discussion and see the solutions that we can help with our beloved island, Jamaica, because we love Jamaica, you know. You hear what the sergeant said before, he loved the curry chicken, you know, because Jamaica has some curry chicken thing there, see? Oh, God have mercy. Behave yourself, Jeffrey, before your wife call you. Anyway, that's what we're going to have come Sunday. That's Sunday, October 29th at 11 a.m. U.S. time, 10 a.m. Jamaica time. The Mecwe Talk program will be having Jamaica and South Africa Security Forum. Our special guests are Ambassador Andy Mashiley, retired FBI agent, attorney at law talk show host Wilfred Radigan, Herb Nelson Jr., security consultant, General Godfrey Lebear from South Africa. He will be coming on our program also to speak to us about the security problems that our two countries are facing. So until you hear my voice, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Mecwe Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Send out the YouTube channel to everybody. Let me like, share, and subscribe to this channel, because this channel is not all about politics and other things. We talk about mental health. We talk about our problems that is facing us individually. Then we see we can assist people. Not only about what the politicians are doing in the land of wood and water, but about what we're facing. So this is WZPP, WZOP, the voice of the Caribbean, I9 Radio. This is where we say so long from here until you hear my voice again. I'm Jeffrey Tavares, saying thank you all very much for watching this program, for coming on this afternoon. May God bless you, and I must say thanks to Sergeant Harris for his service to his nation, the United States of America. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all very much.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people, make we talk. When this down becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Make we talk, people, make